All right, I'm back with another video. Welcome to Marxisms. Please like and subscribe, share, and comment. Interesting news today out of the Fed. Chairman Powell is sounds alarm on 39 trillion unsustainable debt path. Says it will not end well. Unsustainable. Okay, so all you people that say we're not insolvent, yes, technically we're not because insolvency means you cannot pay your debt. But in your own personal life, see now they treat governments differently. In your own personal life, if you were paying your debt with your credit card, which is kind of what the United States does, you would be considered insolvent. That's insolvency. So technically we are insolvent. It just hasn't come home to roost yet because we have the ability to buy debt, as I've said, because of the petrodollar and the fact that we're a reserve currency, which won't last forever the way we're going. The dollar has weakened, so it's just a matter of time before it's replaced by crypto. I mean, Trump's sons want to replace it with crypto, and whether they know what that's going to do to the United States or not, I don't know that they do or care. Honestly, I think their own bottom dollar is the only thing they're really patriotic to. I don't think they care about America or Americans. I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, they're raking in billions, probably totally illegally, and well, it's definitely not legal, and it's definitely not ethical. I mean, the president's family making this kind of money while he's president, it's just complete insider trading. And we know that insider trading does go on within our government. Our Congress does it all the time. That's why when you get into Congress, all of a sudden you become a billionaire or a millionaire, not a billionaire, but a millionaire mostly, because you have all these inside deals, you would be hard pressed not to get wealthy unless you're like an honest person who's, I don't think AOC is getting wealthy. She's probably got more money than she had before. I'm not sure what she's worth. Let's find out. I'm going to find out what she's worth. All right. There's a bunch of rumors out there about her having a lot of money and stuff like that, but that she has like $29 million and stuff like that. Nah, 49,000. 49,000. Her net worth is estimated to be approximately $49,000. Now she makes $174,000 annually in her salary, but obviously some of that is going to go to taxes. And I don't know how much. She also has a 401k. She has a 401k style thrift savings plan that were valued at less than $50,000 in 2023. She's young still, but I remember when mine was like 50,000. Yeah, she's not worth a lot of money, because she doesn't engage in a lot of that corruption. That's the difference. Anyway, and she doesn't take money from big donors. There's a couple of people out there like Kat from Illinois who I fully support. These are people that are, and Bajan Mawawala in Washington State. I mean, these are people that have integrity. That they're not out there for the money. They're there to because they're patriots and they want this country to do well, and they want the people of this country to do well, not just the wealthy. So Chairman Powell, the chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, is saying that we are on an unsustainable path. Here's what he says exactly. It will not end well if we don't do something fairly soon, Powell said. So he's talking about 39 trillion in debt that is growing exponentially daily, especially being at war, especially with all of the money that Trump is spending. And then, of course, I have somebody in my comments tell me that, oh, yeah, all the money we made on tariffs, that's going to pay the debt. We made like 185 billion. $185 billion, okay, we made from tariffs. We made that off the American people. We didn't make it off these companies that are so-called suing. It's kind of funny because they raised their price and then they're suing for that money. So they're going to end up suing and getting the money that we actually paid. They didn't pay it. They passed it on to us, but they're going to up there. But then the money that's going to get sent back is going to pass us as well and go back to them. So we get screwed coming and going. That's what's going to happen. You mark my words. That's already what's going on. But yeah, so when that Treasury report came out and people looked at that, they saw the same thing that Powell sees. They see, okay, this is not going to end well. This is going to continue to fester, and it is going to hurt the United States, and it is going to tank us economically, and it is going to lose us our reserve, us as the reserve currency, which is going to significantly affect our way of life here and our standard of living. Will it be China next? I don't know. I mean, we're in a good position in the sense that we're kind of isolated, because of our coast, but the world's smaller now, so we have to be careful about that. We're in a very good position. It would be very difficult for somebody to take us over. The only way they could really do it is to divide this country like they're doing, and like MAGA's doing, frankly. I mean, they don't think so. The MAGA thinks that we're doing it, and it's like, oh yeah, because you're ungodly and you don't believe in Jesus, and and you believe in illegal immigrants, and you don't support pedophiles like we do, and felons, or the right kind of felons anyway, like Trump. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you call yourself a Christian and you support a guy that is basically a really horrible person, but whatever. So yeah, we have unsustainable debt. We're solvent barely, but it's not going to be long before we're not solvent, and that's basically what Powell's saying, is that this can't continue. We have to legislate in some way to start paying this debt down. We need to start having surpluses like we did. Now, these are deficit surpluses. I had to see everybody. People don't understand how this works. There's debt and there's deficit. Okay, 39 trillion is our debt. That's how much we owe. Okay, that's our debt. That's our overall debt. Our deficit is how much we overspend in a year. So if you have a deficit, then that means you overspent. If you don't have a deficit, it means you didn't overspend. And then you have a surplus. That's called a surplus. So I had somebody in the comments that was a little confused about that. And it's understandable, because most people don't know this. I've studied this stuff a long time ago, back when I did politics, and because this has always been an issue in politics since I've been around. But what happened under Bill Clinton is they did not they may have reduced the debt somewhat. I don't know if they actually did, to be honest with you, but we ended up with surpluses because our deficit went down. They balanced the budget so that we were now putting out less money in expenses than we were taking in. So therefore, at the end of the year, we had extra money, which we could use to pay down the debt. I don't know that happened or not, to be honest with you. I mean, government has a tendency of, oh, we got a surplus. Look at all this money we got. Well, now we could spend it on something. See, that's the way these guys tend to work. Republicans and Democrats. The Republicans will say that's the Democrats, but it's both. Republicans always complain about balanced budgets until they're in office, and then Democrats complain about balanced budgets, and then they don't complain about them when they're in office. It's a two-way street here. But anyway, we have, if we're not insolvent, we're definitely on our way. And the top economist in the land is saying that. He sees the same thing in those Treasury reports because he's an economist. He knows. I mean, I'm not an economist. I could look at that and go, oh my God, I'm glad that's not me. But then again, it is me in a way, because I'm part of this country too. So that's my debt as much as it is yours, and it's not us that's running it up, it's these guys. Instead of all the crap that we're spending money on, we could be investing in healthcare so that people aren't going bankrupt, which the government ends up having to pay and the taxpayers end up paying, or not being able to pay their medical bills, which the government ends up paying. Wouldn't it be better just to have universal healthcare so that we don't have that problem? and that it's just already paid for. And same with education, because if you have free education, you have an educated populace. We have a very uneducated populace. If we had an educated populace, then we would have less people on welfare. Of course, we also have to fix the problem of wages in this country, because everybody has been making record profits for a long time, and I'm talking about the food industry. We're talking about the grocery stores, the meat industry, whatnot, and I'm talking about the big people. I'm not talking about the ranchers. The ranchers are getting screwed because our big meat producers, they make all the rules. They're like a cartel, and if the local beef guys don't um, agree to their prices, they just buy it from Brazil. So they're hurting Americans because, again, like the Trump family, the bottom dollar is who they're patriotic to, not America and not the American people. Um, this is we have our whole runaway American capitalist system is out of control, and it needs to end. We need to have a little more. I'm for having a market economy, which is capitalist, but I am also for having social programs that benefit everybody, not just the ones that benefit the wealthy, which is what our social programs do right now. Bank bailouts, subsidies, tax breaks. That is socialism to the wealthy, and that's who's getting the most of our money right now. We need to stop that. We need to stop bailing out banks when they screw up, and we need to bail out the people. I think there's some European countries that did that. They said, let the banks fail. We're going to bail out the people. And guess what? Their economies came back quicker. Weird, huh? Anyway, I know I'm right on this one. You all have a nice day. Peace.